So it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Andy Cease. I'm Director of Product Marketing for our Payments and Identity portfolio based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, our headquarters there. I'm really excited to be here with my colleague James at Sinagpore FinTech Festival.
Hi, Jerry. Again, also great to be here. I'm James Cook. I'm the Vice President for Sales for Asia Pacific for our digital security business here. And I'm based here in Singapore. And I think I've been with the company for about 15 years. The last 8 of that's been spent here in the Asia Pacific region. So I say great to be here, great show, and looking forward to a full day ahead.
I mean, from an experiential standpoint, right, the first biggest thing that those financial institutions need to solve for is a streamlined consumer experience, right? How can they make this process simple for the good guys and difficult for the bad guys at the end of the day? From there, right, it then gets into the second would be implementation, right? What do I need to do? Who do I need to integrate to set up a process that works well for my customers today? And then thirdly, works well for my customers in the future. How can we make this adaptable, scalable, so that we're able to anticipate future innovations, future threats, but certainly leading with a great experience, securing it up front, and then making sure you have a scalable, secure platform off of which you can evolve to that future consumer need.
Yeah, well, obviously I have the privilege to speak with a lot of customers around the region, and I'm seeing a lot of the same things. And exactly as Andy said, there's the customer process and the customer satisfaction part of it will always be king. But what we are finding is that security is definitely running it a close second. So we're finding that the customers are not only becoming more technology savvy, but in particular, they're becoming more security savvy. And that means that they are very aware of the dangers that potentially can result from them giving away their personal information, or their identity documents, or even their biometric details. So just as what we are finding is that if a process to onboard a customer falls down because the customer service experience is not good, we're also finding that's the same thing in terms of security. If there's a perception from the customer that the service is not secure, we're finding they'll often abandon the onboarding process as well. So worth being aware of.
I think we're very fortunate because we're now in a time where we have the technology, we have the solutions to at once make the process simpler, but also make the process more secure. And so I think finding that technology that enables a financial institution to confidently make a decision about whether they want to do business with this individual, leveraging things like biometric identity verification, leveraging things like digital signing, multi-factor authentication, right? Composing those in a really elegant experience that enables that consumer to reach a point of value. So I think we certainly see a lot of eKYC, AML providers here. Entrust really stands apart in that we're able to bring that consumer through to that initial point of value, getting equipped with a payment card. So I think leveraging, right, best-in-class account opening experiences that raise the level of assurance, use biometrics, as James mentioned, but also remove complexity, remove manual entry. And so that's where we're kind of bringing a whole solution, a whole suite of solutions to the customer and allowing them to pick and choose, right, what's the right configuration for them, their risk appetite, allowing them to ultimately onboard more good customers and get them to a point of value where they're receiving value, but also the financial institution is able to have some meaningful business impact from those as well.
Yeah, so I would build on some of what Andy said and also build on my previous points that I made. So, one of the big concerns that customers have is the concern they have about handing out their identity documents, handing out their biometric details, etc. They're aware that's very concerning. So with that in mind, the advice that I would give is try and keep that to an absolute minimum. Make sure that the documents they provide, the identity documents they provide, and also any biometric details that you're taking are the absolute minimum. Because if that starts to get complicated and the customer feels they're providing too much of that data, that'll often be a concern to them. And the final thing, I think from that point of view is, for me, good security in this space always initially comes from good identity verification. So I would encourage all organizations looking at doing something like this to make that one of the first things on their list.
Yeah, what Entrust has really been building through our relationships with the ecosystem, what we've been developing organically, is a platform off of which we're not just delivering point solutions, we're delivering entire experiences, right? And so allowing financial institutions of all sizes to provide a seamless, best-in-class experience that takes them from being an unknown entity to a financial institution to, in a matter of minutes, being equipped to pay with an account and with a digital card. And so that, I think is one of the things that we are certainly delivering to the market that's difficult to find from other providers, is a single solution that allows multi-point touch points and that ultimately creates a meaningful experience in that we're driving to a point of value, right, and enabling that consumer to take action that they really intended to at the outset, right? So no one's signing up for a bank account to do IDV or to do a digital signature. They're doing all of that to get to the payment card or to get to accessing a loan. And so I think Entrust is able to, in some ways, democratize this experience, bring it from being what's exclusively found in your very biggest banks and making it accessible and something that a financial institution of any size can deliver to their customers, because we've knit so many of the experiences, whether it's the presentation layer through to some of the network and infrastructural security elements. So sort of a one-stop shop where we're able, through our partners, through our alliances, to create a single hand to hold through this digital transformation journey, as opposed to trying to cobble together sort of a variety of distinct point solutions.
And I think at the heart of the offerings that we would provide for customers is zero trust. And the concept of that being that you don't implicitly trust a person or you don't implicitly trust a device. So in terms of our portfolio, we have a leading edge, industry leading identity security portfolio. But if I could just focus maybe on the device for a little bit, because that's sometimes something that people forget about, the device that's actually accessing the services. So for example, what we can do is look at the device integrity aspect of it. So for example, if that's a phone, we could say, okay, has that phone, has it registered been stolen? Has it been jailbroken? Is it using a Tor browser? Those type of checks can give us a really clear view as to where there's risk associated with that device. The second thing that we can do is to lean into our certificates heritage as well. So we can embed device certificates on those devices to make sure that they can be completely trusted by the service against which they're identified. The other thing that sometimes gets forgotten here as well is we can obviously put together a very slick service around remotely onboarding customers, but at some point that falls down and it takes away a lot of the value if someone actually has to put a wet signature on a piece of paper. Now, again, that's something that we can certainly help customers with. We have a great portfolio of digital signing solutions which allow people to have qualified digital signatures on any of those documents that can be genuinely trusted. So those are really some of the things that we can bring to market. And I guess the thing that I would also add as well for many customers is all of those are fully integrated solutions, and they're also available on-prem or also as a service.
So I mean, if we're looking at something like a digital account opening, right, there's a whole ecosystem of data and identity networks that we can tap into. James mentioned, the ability to look at device reputation. We have some of that as part of our own portfolio, but we also work with the likes of MasterCard, their new data solution for certain reputational elements like physical address or email address. We're using their Ekata solution. So, right, taking what we do best, that biometric identity verification, the cert solutions, the key management, the digital signatures, and then reaching out and integrating to the necessary eKYC or AML providers. That's really how we're able to get our solution into specific regions, is bringing this core capability of a great biometric identity-led onboarding experience, but then reaching out, given the jurisdiction, the regionalization requirements, to the necessary government agencies or identity networks, such that we're able to make an informed, the financial institution is able to make an informed 360-degree view of this individual. So looking at the device reputation, as James mentioned, looking at the document they're presenting, looking at if they match that document, and then looking at what's the history, what's the reputation of things like email, phone number, and physical address. So I would say we do a lot of it, but certainly eKYC and AML are those vital integrations that we're connecting to on a region by region basis.